Coming up this week, why do you notice the speck in someone else's eye, but not the log in your own? Hello everyone, and welcome to Sunday Spoilers, this wonderful opportunity that we have to prepare ourselves for worship. We know how important worship is. We know that worship is a time for us to encounter God. It's a chance for us to offer praise and thanksgiving and to just simply be in God's presence, as well as being in the presence of others. We know it's an important time. It's not just something for us to watch. It's not just something for us to go in and go out of. It's a time for us to have that encounter. The more we prepare ourselves for that, the more able we are to truly receive what God is giving to us. The more able we are to be in that moment, to be present in that moment with God. This week we're going to be continuing our summer series of looking at some of the questions of Jesus from the standpoint of, what if he were asking me that question? What if Jesus were asking me? And it kind of gives us that chance to wrestle with the question, to wrestle with what we think it means, wrestle with what it means for us, wrestle with how we move forward in life and how we understand our relationship with Jesus to work. And so the question for this week is the speck and log, where you see the speck in someone else's eye, where there's something wrong with what they're doing, there's something that you don't like, there's something off about what they're doing, maybe they're not following the rules in the right kind of way, whatever. But we fail to notice what's going on in our own life. We fail to notice that sometimes what we've got going on in our own life is a lot worse than what's going on with them. So just to kind of give a framework for this and a kind of foundation for this, we're going to be looking at Matthew chapter 7, verses 1 through 5. Now this is part of the Sermon on the Mount. This is part of a larger series of teachings that Jesus gives to those who are around him. Let's hear what he says here. Do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, let me take that speck out of your eye, when all the time there is a plank in your own eye? You hypocrite! First take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. Why does it seem to work like that all the time? Why does it seem that it's so much easier for us to look at someone else and to notice something about them, to notice something about their life, their choices, whatever it is? We disagree with them, whatever. We're good at calling those kinds of things out. We're good at noticing those kinds of things. But when it comes to our own life, it's harder. It's harder for us to understand what's going on in our own life. And I think Jesus is kind of saying here to start with that. Start with where we are. Start with what our perspective is. Start with how we understand things. Once we're able to see, once we're able to kind of have a better perspective of what's going on for ourselves, then we can find ways to be helpful. And the word here for judge, it often connotes condemning. That sometimes that criticism crosses a line into being that we're condemning a person, that we're not just talking about the things that they're doing wrong, we're not just talking about the things that we disagree with, we start talking about them as a person. And so we start to condemn that person. So I think that's the warning here that Jesus is offering, that to be aware of that line, to be aware that sometimes we cross that line and being overly critical, and to be paying attention to ourselves, to be paying attention to what we're trying to do. Ultimately, we want to help each other. Ultimately, we want to hold each other accountable and to discern what the proper steps are in life and the proper directions for us to go. And we need to be able to have a clean vision for us to be able to do that, to be able to help each other to do that. So I look forward to going a little bit deeper into this topic on Sunday. I look forward to talking about this idea of judging and condemning and noticing things in other people, but not necessarily noticing things in our own life. I look forward to that time that we get to share together on Sunday, this weekend, to be able to worship as God's body, to worship as brother and sister, to worship as the children of God. Look forward to then. See you all. Take care.